Welcome to the Rooted Book Discussion. We are on chapter 10, talking about the divine exchange, and we're here with some of my friends and whoever's watching out there by yourself or with a group. We're glad that you joined us. All right, guys, chapter 10. This is the second chapter in the second chapter in the second soil, which is serving, where when God began to develop the root system in David's life, He put him both in the field, which was intimacy, but He put him in the place of serving as well. He really began to develop David in that place of serving. This chapter, the divine exchange, is actually based around that, there's real benefits to this. And when I'm saying serving, I'm not just talking about that you never go after your dreams, you never do those things that God's placed in your heart, but as favor increases, as finances increase, as whatever increases in your life, that you're using that, figuring out how can I best serve people with the platform or whatever else the Lord's given us. Again, whether you lead in the church or outside the church. And one of those issues is humility. I'm not sure there's a better thing to really bring humility in our life than serving. But the reason why humility is so important is because, again, the divine exchange is when I humble myself, grace comes. I see a lot of people that live without grace and they're wondering why, and I'm like, well, because it's just about you all the time and you haven't really, and for whatever reason, the Lord loves to humble me on a consistent basis. And I just thank Him for that. I'm really grateful for the grace coming in our life.
Can I trade this for a CD?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Well, that story, totally. Those stories are in there, but yeah.
No, it's interesting. I heard this analogy once about trucks and how when a truck is full, like a semi-truck, when it's full, it actually drives the best.
Wow.
And I've kind of approached serving that way. Well, haven't and started to as it's just got to be real talk,
Real talk.
As when your life is full and when you are serving and giving out of the abundance and have a full dose of serving, your life operates the way it's meant to operate. And I've noticed is the things I've cut back on, like, I'm burnt out, or I don't want to do this, or I don't want to do that, or I'm saying yes too much here, and cutting out genuine serving opportunities, I actually get more burnout or start to look at life as like, man, they're taking, the victim. I'm being asked of too much here, or this isn't promoting me the way I want to. So as I cut those things out, I actually find that if my serving tank isn't full, then I begin to go the opposite direction of like the victim mentality and all that. And I just think it's that grace is released, like you say, when you actually are filling that serving tank up in a genuine way.
Well, and some of our best intentions, honestly, as we pursue God, some of our best intentions, without realizing it, it just becomes about us. Yeah. It's about my dream, my call, my destiny, and a lot of our frustration. You even mentioned this in one of the previous chapters about like God doesn't owe me my destiny. Mm-hmm. We're like, well, it's about my destiny, and why isn't my destiny happening, and all this type of stuff. Yeah. And the Lord's like, wait, did you think this was about you? Because it's not about you. Yeah. It's about Him. Yeah. And whenever you serve, you keep yourself in that position that's like, oh yeah, this isn't about me.
Right.
This isn't about me. This is a posture that Jesus took.
I like the example you gave in the book about the drummer, and you asked him, where are you serving? And he said, I drum for the worship team. And you said, well, that's something you're gifted in. That's not a sacrifice for you. Like, where are you serving? So serving
drumming
feels like a sacrifice.
His drumming is still about Him.
Yes,
it's still
exactly.
about, well, I'm growing in what I want. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And the story was you don't actually know if you're serving until He says, well, we don't need a drummer. We need somebody to admin the schedule.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't feel called to admin.
Not at all. No.
Not passionate about that.
Oh, wait a second. Is this about you?
Yes, exactly.
No. Yeah.
So if it doesn't feel like sacrifice, maybe it's not serving.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think one of the greatest joys that I've had in this season of serving and getting to serve alongside many others is getting the opportunity to actually help people live out of who they are in the midst of this serving that brings no life. Because that's really one of the greatest rewards in life, is being able to, no matter what the circumstances, no matter what you're doing, is still recognize like my value, what I bring, what I contribute. It brings so much more life to serving, that when you take your eyes off of what my dream, my pursuit, but in the midst of this, how am I impacting others to still live out of who they are in this environment?
No, I love it. Again, we're talking about the divine exchange. So, I mean, you guys have probably experienced this, but some of the greatest joy in my life is when you're able to come alongside and lay your life down for somebody and see something happen for them, or it's just, it's a really incredible place. And we've been around leaders. Some of the most happy people I know are the biggest servants I know.
Yeah. I would have to say my boss, Danny Silk, is one of the most servant-hearted, humble leaders I have ever met. Like, he is you would never know. He's just one of the most servant, humble people you'd ever meet. Like, he goes around, he speaks to thousands of people, he sits down, but he always has time to stop for the one person. It's never below him to have a conversation with somebody and say, I'm going to invest in you because somebody actually took the time to invest in me. So like when I started working for him 3.5 years ago, like, our conversations were not just about like, here are all the things I need you to do, but what are the things that you're dreaming about, and how can I partner with you? Wow. So over the last 3.5 years, it's like, I'm doing admin, I'm doing all these things that I might not necessarily be 100% like the best at or that I absolutely love, but he's giving me grace and he's walking with me through it, going, okay, I know that this is where you dream at, so I'm actually going to push you into this area, and I'm going to help stretch you in this area.
Yeah.
And it's
and
incredible
how
to see
life-giving,
that.
and you're like, that's the leader I want to be.
Totally.
Yeah.
I think that is the best kind of leader, is a servant-hearted, humble leader who says, like they take their favor and they appreciate it and they walk in it, but they're not too above themselves to go, actually, I want to bring you with me. I want to teach you this too. Like, they're leaving a legacy and something for the next generation to pick up and run with.
I like what you said about the more increase you have, the more you increase your capacity to serve people. And so the more influence, the more leadership you have, your servanthood, your serving should be expanding as well. You should be using those resources or that knowledge or whatever you've been given to increase others' lives. And we talk about this all the time, Robert and I. Like, we're so thankful for what God's done in our life, and we're always looking for opportunities to bring other people into our world and promote them and help them get promoted and support them.
Which is the true heart of a mother and the true heart of a father. Yeah. I think that you mentioned that thing. I grew up in ministry. I grew up in an environment with our pastor, Bill Johnson, who, he would mention that like, all increase in your life is so that you can better serve. And what I found for me, when the Lord was developing my life in the soil of serving, it's the safe place I know. Yeah. And I think a lot of people, increase doesn't come into their life, whatever it would be, whatever they're praying for, because when it comes to their life, it's just pointed at them.
Right.
Yeah.
It becomes, that just heightens it's about me.
Yeah.
Rather than as it comes, I'm trying to figure out how can I better serve. Yeah. And again, we use a lot of ministry analogies, but wherever you're at, you have resources, things that the Lord's released to you, anointing, finances, favor, encouragement, whatever else it is. And what am I doing to point that at others, and including your family? Like, you're called to serve your family. You're called first and foremost to serve your spouse and your kids and your family. Yeah. But what am I doing to take that? And as long as I can stay in that spot, I'm safe. If I'm not using it to serve, all of a sudden it becomes about me without even realizing it.
Yeah. You talk a lot about the danger zone, staying out of the danger zone by serving. And that actually struck me because I'm thinking about, just some of the people I've seen in the danger zone and how that's affected. I've had some leaders there. And thinking about, okay, were they serving? Like, where were they serving? Oh, and kind of matching the dots of like, as soon as that, you don't have that covering, and it keeps you in that place of humility, being teachable and being open to feedback and all those things. And I know even at our church, we have that, we require people to be on a team before they're on the ministry team, because it's almost that vetting process of like, let's see your character. It releases something in your character when you serve, and that means we can trust you with more.
Yeah, and again, what I'm trying to accomplish in the book is to begin to really give people value for this stuff. So like, okay, I have a context for it and I value it. So it's not just that I'm walking through the process, I value the process. Yeah. It's not just that I'm, enduring this soil of surfing, I'm actually embracing it, and I have a high value for this soil and what God's doing in my life through it. So I love that. Man, I just love hearing your guys' stories and your process and what God's done in your guys' lives. It's pretty amazing. So, guys, thanks so much for joining us. I'm going to tell you again, go get your Bible, find a place, be with the Lord, talk to Him about all this, and then take this stuff, process it. Process it with a group of people, process it with friends. Just talk to Him, man. I just really feel the Lord stirring me and talking about this. It's always healthy and good to do that.